Hey, it's Mila. Welcome back to my channel. The past 2 years, I made a all the books that I read in 2020, whatever. This year, I thought, let's do that, but let's also look at the best and the worst. Because I read some of the most amazing books ever, but I've also never been so disappointed at the same time. So I was like, you know what, let's make like a separate video talking about that because in my wrap up this year, I'm not gonna rank them in order. I'm not gonna like do anything like that. I'm just gonna go through everything in terms of like categories. That's how I decided to how I decided to do it this year. I was like, let's go through all the romance, all the thrillers, all the mystery, and like whatever. So that's like as vague as possible so it doesn't take like 3,000 hours. But over here, I'm going to talk a tiny bit more about these books individually, my faves, my least faves. So we have 5 of the worst books that I read this year. And then just so we end things on a good note, we have 6 of the best books that I read this year. So I think I'm going to be alternating best, worst to kind of like keep things interesting, like not have all this negative energy at the beginning or at the end and like even things out. Also, if you're new here and you've never seen my face before, hi, my name's Mila. I make everything from college, lifestyle, and bookish type content. So if that sounds fun, definitely hit the subscribe button. You can see my lingerie. Hit the subscribe button and leave a thumbs up. So you become part of this little family and you know every single time that I post. All my socials are links down below if you want to go check me out over there. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the best books and the worst books that I've read in 2023. So these are in like no particular order of like my favorite and least favorite. I'm just gonna go based off of what's like closest for me to grab. One of my favorite books this year were Dreams Ascend by Janella Angelis. I feel like the very few times I've talked about this book, I've only like gushed about good things. I don't know if I really like went through a detailed summary, but I'll talk like a lot more about it here so you guys can know why I love it so much. So this is fantasy, there's magic in it, and basically you have our main character who grows up in this like castle, not like how do I describe it? It's like a little place in the woods. I get the vibe that it's a type of like club where people perform and stuff like that. Like that's the vibe that I get for that. And she's a performer with her magic and everything. Then at some point she decides to leave to go to this town. And when she gets to this town, she sees that they have a little magic competition. She decides to enter. At first they're like, no, because she's a girl. But then she meets one of the judges and they have a not like enemies to lovers, but it's like, I don't like you, but I'm gonna have my eye out on you because I want to take care of you. I want to make sure like you're surviving and stuff like that. Because people are gonna like do you dirty. And over time, you can tell they start working together to kind of like suss out everything sus. And it's just so cute. And the ending, oh my god, like the ending, because it's a duology. The ending kind of gave me the same vibes as figuring out what happened to what's his name to Darlington in Ninth House. It was like that, so it kind of got like a bit of like Ninth House vibes. I did not expect that going in, so I really loved it. Like, don't read the summary of the book; it literally gives you nothing. Like, it gave me nothing, and I was so pleasantly surprised. It's so good, and I 100% recommend. For worst book, again, no particular order. I'll just do this one because it's like the most recent that I read on this list. The Christmas Wish by Lindsay Kelk. I know going into Christmas romances, they're not going to be like 5-star energy. They're not going to be amazing. But I've just never hated a main character more than I've hated her. She was so obnoxious, so just annoying on a whole other level. And it was like bad cringe. It was just, I just, like, whenever she opened her mouth, I was like, ew, no. It sounds so bad, but she was the most obnoxious person ever. And that's why I really did not like this book. Let's go back to one of the best books of the year. This book, oh my god, my entire heart. Twisted Games. Yes, just yes, this is so good. I feel like the best thing about this book is that the romance was so believable because you could see it grow over time. And unlike Twisted Love, where they meet and then in like a short amount of time they get together, it's like Bridget and Reese, it takes time. Like, it takes so much more time. And there's that whole like forbidden aspect that just made it so good. And you know, when you're like reading and you just like find yourself like smiling and like giggling and stuff like that, that's definitely what I felt with this. Just, oh my god, like if you have not read the Twisted series, please go read it. Twisted Love is really good, but Twisted Games is where it's at. I have not finished the series yet. I'm planning to read Twisted Hate in January, so I do plan to finish it like pretty soon, but I have not finished it yet. But this book, oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. I don't know which one to pick up for the worst book, because it's just, looking at all of these make me like meh. This book, I honestly could not tell you what it's about because I just like blocked it out of my brain. The Shadows Between Us by Trissa Levenseller. I could not tell you what it's about. I have no idea. It was so like unmemorable in like a bad way. I was just, nothing remarkable about it, nothing necessarily good about it. Like, I think that there's this girl who goes to like, I don't even know the plot. I don't remember the plot, and I always remember the plot of books. I don't remember anything. That just shows the amount of like dislike I have for this book. Like, I'm pretty sure some people love it, just personally like not my cup of tea. I read my first ever Taylor Jenkins Reid book this year, and oh my god, I love her. I love her so much. So one of my favorite books, like I read The Seven Husbands, Daisy Jones, and When True Love is, and my favorite out of all of them, Daisy Jones. Like, I rated The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo the highest, but I feel like in terms of a memorability of these books, Daisy Jones, that's why Daisy Jones is on the list and not The Seven Husbands, because I just never read something like this. That's why it was so memorable to me. It was like an interview style, and just how the story was. Like, again, I've never read anything like this, and I feel like that's why it's so remarkable. It was just so good. Like, when you're reading it, it really felt like these people were real. Like, if I knew going in that this was like a fictional band, if I did not know going in that this was a fictional band, I would have been 100% sure that it was like real. And just the fact that she actually like wrote the songs and included them in the end of the book, I'm like, wow. Like, it was so good. I loved every single character in this book. There was like nothing wrong, like nothing to criticize, nothing wrong. It was just so good. I definitely recommend this. If you have not seen it, if you have not read it, please go read it. Or if you're not a fan of reading, I don't know why you'd be watching this if you're not a fan of reading, but if you're not, go watch the show. I did not finish it, but I heard good things. And Sam Claflin, Mr. Finnick Odair himself, is in it. Definitely recommend doing either one of those. On a more negative note, I hate talking about this because I know that everyone loves this book, Darling Venom. I'm just like, no, like, just, there's just something about men being OBGYNs, and just the fact that they were like, oh, like, have him be yours. I'm like, no, like, it just, I mean, I'm pretty sure like these men do it for good reasons, but it just like irks me the wrong way. I'm like, I know, respectfully, no. Like, I know it took a lot of work to get to this place, and that's amazing. That's like very like commendable. No, that's not commendable about you. I don't know, like, but I feel like you know the word that I mean. That's like amazing for you, and like I'm super happy that you're going in the medical field. But it's kind of odd. I don't know. Like, it's just, I feel like that was a big thing that kind of like irked me about this book. And like, it sucks because that's like the most like minuscule thing, but then I always thought about that and it kind of like wrecked everything in the book for me. And it's like such a pretty cover. So I have My Dark Romeo by, I forget who, but I know the author of this book is also an author on that book. So I'll see if that's a better vibe, because he's not a doctor like this. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm still gonna give this author a chance because I feel like it did have potential. It was just like, that whole thing was like, I was not a fan of that. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Oh my god, like, I literally finished this last night. It's so good. It's just, I was in shock. Just like I don't want to give anything away, but just like the thought that goes into everything, and just it was so good. And like, honestly, I knew nothing about it. I just knew that there's this girl who goes to be a maid at this couple's house, and then the wife is like creepy and weird. She kind of has like her little thing with the husband. That's all I knew. I was so pleasantly surprised going in only knowing that. So please, like, don't even read the back. Just go in and experience it for yourself, because wow, like, I'm so happy that I read this before 2024, because now I know Frida McFadden is like an auto-buy author. wow, like I definitely understand why everyone is in love with it, and she definitely deserves all the hype that she's getting. Let's talk about a thriller that was not the best. The Lake by Natasha Preston. You know, in thrillers, what everyone thinks is going on when whoever everyone thinks the person is, that should not be the person. Even though when you go into a thriller, you know that that's not gonna be the person. I feel like it should be that that person is not the person. Like, I'm sorry if I spoil it for you, but that was like my main thing with this book. Like, that really disappointed me because I feel like there was a buildup of the setting, and I really love the setting, like a summer camp. That's an amazing setting, but I feel like how things progressed, how the story was told, I was not a huge fan of it. Like, it was very creepy, but I feel like she kind of like wrecked it with the reveal of who the person was. And I just want to say, at the end, this one I'm not going to talk about. The ending, I was like, oh my god, I was in shock. I was not expecting that, especially for YA. I was not expecting that. But I feel like the whole in between kind of like wrecked it for the story. Like, this had so much potential, but it wrecked it. Okay, we're gonna leave like the best for last. So another amazing read of this year, Ivy by Devney Perry, writing as Willa Nash. No one talks about this book. I heard nothing about this book. Oh my god, it's so good. Like, Pretty Little Liars meets Gossip Girl. You basically have like three girls who go to this university. Two of them have been friends since forever, and then a new one is moving into the house. And you see all of their like separate little plot lines, all of their romances. There was one, I don't remember the character's name because I read this such a long time ago. Is it Eleanor or Lenora or something like that? Elora. So my favorite couple was Elora and Zane. Like, from the start, when they first got introduced, I was like, yes, they're everything to me. They're absolutely everything. Like, the other girls, Allison, I love her storyline. The other one, Casey, I love her storyline. But Elora and Zane, they were just everything to me. They were absolutely everything. Because I feel like it's the whole like forbidden aspect that I absolutely love in romances, and I feel like that's what really, really gets me, and that's what like separates like a 4.5 star read from like a 5 star read. Like, that is my trope. Like, that's a trope that I'm a sucker for, and it was just, they were my favorite. But I was still super interested in everyone's plots. Like, the story is much more character focused, so very slow at times. I felt like it was fine. Maybe in the middle of the book it was like lagging a tiny little bit, but overall amazing. Like, that's maybe one thing you want to consider before picking it up, if the premise sounds good, because it does take a while to kind of like get into it, and then there's that in the middle. But overall, very, very good. Like, definitely recommend. Like, one of the underdog books of the year, because I was not expecting that. Like, this, so good, so good. A book I went into having such high expectations. I thought I was gonna love it. Like, I've never been so frustrated because of a book before. Say You Swear, Megan Brandy. There was so much potential. There's this one specific trope that I absolutely despise with a passion. And like, in some stories, I can see how it makes sense, how it drives the story. But in some stories, it does not make sense. It brings you nothing, and it just makes me so frustrated. Because like, let's say like long shot, it made sense. It made sense because that was a key role in the story. This one, I'm like, no, like, it was one of those books that it was too long for nothing. Not much happened. That just wrecked everything for me. Just know, like, I was so excited because the cover is so pretty, but just no. To end this video on a good note, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Am I that bitch who's making this her entire personality? Absolutely. The elitism and everything, I love it. Like, the sense of superiority of a Henry Winter. Please tell me his name is Winter. If not, that's like very embarrassing if his last name is not Winter. Wow. Like, I went in, I did not know what to expect going in. I was like, we'll see what happens. I have one of my friends who's not like a huge reader, and she was like, I absolutely loved it. Like, please read it. And I was okay. She's not a big reader. This is like a pretty like dense book, so if she loves it, I'm gonna love it. It took me so long to read this. I've been reading this, like, I finished it maybe 2 weeks ago. I started reading it in October. I started like, let's say October 10th. I finished December like 20th. That's how long it took me to read it. because that's how much focus I put on this. It's like 8 chapters that are like 100 pages long each. It's so dense. The text is so tiny. There's so much going on. You're never bored because there's always something happening. There's always like a plan or something. There's always like, it's so good. Like, just please read it. Like, if you love Dark Academia, please go read it. If you like murder, please, if you like murder, if if you like murder, you know what I mean. If you're into that, please go read it. Just anything like elitist, just like ancient Greece, like just it's so good. It's so good. Like I can talk about it for hours, but I don't want to say too much because I went in knowing virtually nothing, just knowing that there's that air of like superiority, elitism, and class and like talks about like the classics and like ancient Greece and stuff like that. And I loved it so much. So please, if there's one book from this video that you should read, The Secret History. So that's gonna be it for today. I hope you guys enjoy. This is like one of my last videos in 2023, so it feels like so weird. Like this year is done. Like obviously I'm still gonna be reading a tiny bit more before the new year because we are currently the 27th, but I was like, you know what, I want to finish filming my best and worst reads. I want to finish filming my everything I read in 2023 video to give myself like a couple of days to edit because I am doing like other things. I am planning other videos and stuff like that, so I want to like allow myself the time to like edit at my own pace. So I'm gonna be reading a tiny bit more this year. And I feel like every single year I'm gonna include like maybe 1-2 books that I read the year before that I did not have time to talk about in my wrap up, because like ideally I would be filming these on the 31st, but I'm not gonna film like this video and everything that I read in 2023 on the 31st and then post both of them. Like it's just unrealistic. Like, let me know what were your favorite and least favorite reads of 2023. Leave them down below. Or if you've read any of these books and you want to talk about it, my Instagram is right over here. So if there's anything spoilery, we can talk about it on my Insta. I mean, over here, like down below. Anything spoilery, we can talk about over there. So it's not spoiler for anyone. And yeah, so happy new year. I hope everyone achieved their Goodreads goal or got close to it. And here's to achieving our goal in 2024. Here's to reading more amazing books, not having horrible experiences reading books. And yeah, so stay safe, protect your vibe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.